So he's backed by all the banker big bucks. That makes me think Rockefeller, makes me think Kissinger, and we've seen what they've done before in the past. And yeah, his buddies own and run that, or once again, he's the guy, but behind him is what? Is the banking cartel and, rich people from around the world that get together at like the Bilderberg meeting. Not him, but people behind him. It's kind of funny. Do you remember when he was campaigning and both him and Hillary all of a sudden left the campaign trails? As a matter of fact, I believe his campaign people lied to the reporters that were traveling with him and told them that he was going to get on this plane and fly to Chicago, and he didn't get on the plane. No, he went to Northern Virginia. And that was the same time, wasn't it, that the Bilderbergs were meeting in Chantilly, Virginia during his presidential campaign. Hey, kind of interesting, huh? But, nothing good or bad. It's just, information for you. Because who would think that anyone or any time in the history of the world, people would actually try to get power, and try to wield power and do anything they can and kill as many people as you can even count, probably more than you can count, okay, so that they could have this power. And it's not that he's the only one. When I say the only one, just look around you. Look at your media, Remember, torture's okay now? We have that show, or we had the show 24 and stuff. And everybody's Al-Qaeda. It's all security. And, the more anybody looked into 9/11, the more they were called unpatriotic. But the deeper they looked, the more they found out there were inconsistencies. Not just that, things didn't work out scientifically. Oh my gosh. And then we found out we were lied to many times. And how about the whole thing with the insider trading on 9/11, where days before and up to 9/11, there were more put options put on the American Airlines and United Airlines than ever before in their history, and let alone in recorded history of the markets. And it was chased to that Brown Company place. I'm trying to think. I got to get the name right. But I know that went down to Maryland, and Buzzy Cromwell, I think was the name. And oh my gosh, he took a job at the CIA. So insider trading tied to a brokerage house, and the brokerage house guy running to whatever went to work for the CIA. Hey, and let's see, the guy running security, or who ran Securicom? Marvin Bush, and also Whit Walker. Remember, it's George Walker Bush, right? Herbert Walker and all that good stuff. So we're getting rid of that old birdcage liner, and we're bringing you some new birdcage liner. So that, right now we're going to think it's changed. And we're going to cut him some extra slack because he's not Bush and he's not Cheney and he's not those bad guys. But what makes you think, once again, if choosing Republicans and Democrats that were backed by big bankers, like they did previously, that there's going to be change? Let alone positive change. I'll ask you once again on this show, November 2008 show, or whatever, at the beginning, right after we've had our election, or I should say our C-election. They select and we elect. Do you think he's going to stop the warrantless wiretapping of Americans? Do you think he's going to repeal the Patriot Act? Do you think he's going to stand up and, repeal the Military Commissions Act that says we can torture people? Do you think he's going to get rid of the John Warner Defense Authorization Act that, takes governors out of the loop for National Guard and stuff, and let alone allows the president the powers to call in the Mexican Army? The Mexican Army. Also, too, while you're out there, viewers, take a few moments. Thank you for watching, but take a few moments and type these words into your Google machine. Type in Constitution-free zone. We're going back to the bottom one. Hold on. We did have all that good art for you, huh? Here it is once again, the Constitution. Now I want you to type in Constitution-free zone. Do a search. Take a moment. Maybe do a little research. Where's this Constitution-free zone going to be? Would it surprise you if I said it would be within 100 miles of any coast? That's right, so California or any border, Canadian, Mexican. How many Americans does that cover? Why do we need a new guy with a Constitution-free zone? You can't blame him. Well, actually, you can. He voted for the bailout, by the way. He voted to steal your money, to steal from the poor, and give to the rich bankers. Oh, wait, let's go back one. Remember, he had a logo, and, his buddies have logos, right? All right, his buddies have logos, and it gets better. Who else do you know came into power with a logo? Should I take you back to the 30s? Okay, Going to be interesting, huh? We're in for some very dynamic times. And you as a viewer, you get to think, have I seen any of this before? Have I heard any of this before? Why does this guy keep coming on my television and saying, you know what? These people don't love your family. These people are, I want to say, trashing or thrashing your monetary unit, the dollar. You're going to say goodbye to it pretty soon. And you've seen commodity prices go down recently, and you've seen the dollar, quote, go up. And it wasn't really the dollar going up, was it? For you world financial people, I hope you're watching, you probably would have found out that really other major currencies around the globe went down. Boy, as a matter of fact, their markets got affected too, right? And that made the dollar look good. And, quote, commodity prices went down. I wouldn't expect that to last too long. Because all these people that we've been exchanging dollars for their goods because of the Bretton Woods Accord and stuff, and then what took over after the Bretton Woods, where the dollar was first backed by gold, and then in the 70s, thank you, Nixon and company, no more backing by gold, so we could print as much as we wanted, and then we had all floating currencies for the world. But if you wanted to buy any commodities, you required dollars, you needed dollars. Well, now, what if people don't want those dollars? What if you're in China and you don't want the dollar? You already have some. Let's say you have a stack higher than this, you just got tons of dollars. Then what? What happens when those paper instruments, those dollars created by debt, not by anything tangible or real, that's why they call it fiat currency, what happens if they repatriate themselves? That those issued pieces of debt come back home here to the United States of America. They were, when I say they, these centralized bank globalist people were able to print dollars from nothing, buy up real assets like companies, like resources, like dams, bridges, highways. Did you realize they're for sale? Hey, they tried to sell Government Center in Boston. Remember that? This is comedy. They're going to lease it back. So anyway, they took the money that they created from nothing and they bought real things. Okay? So they bought real tangible things, and then what happened? And then, they got you to think that, everything's better because they pushed this money, they added liquidity to markets. And you said, I'm rich now because I got more money. Yet the money you have doesn't buy as much. And meanwhile, what are they doing now? They're contracting the money supply. They're telling you that we have to steal more from you to help the banks. And the banks are doing what? They're giving their people bonuses in tens of billions of dollars amounts. Just take a look at Goldman Sachs. It wasn't me. It was the New York Times who said it. Okay? But think about it. They stole from you to give Goldman Sachs more money. And isn't it surprising your Treasury Secretary's from Goldman Sachs? Yeah. And meanwhile, you got this new guy. You get the Messiah dude, and he's your change. But he's backed by bankers. You think you're going to get change? You better get ready for the change. They'll blame it on the last guy, right? And the new guy, but new guy's going to save you. He's going to say austerity. And then beware. Beware of a biological attack. Beware of a nuclear attack, okay, where some city blows up and they tell you, oh my gosh, it's Al-Qaeda, or it's the Russians or somebody else, because they need more wars. When I say need more wars, don't believe me. Why don't you just go find out that the Rand Corporation went and briefed the Pentagon and said, you know what you need? You need a big war. That's what you need. Yeah. I guess we needed 9/11 if you read what Cheney wrote, the Project for a New American Century with Wolfowitz, Yeah, but that's okay because everything's all right, everybody. Keep taking the drugs, especially the big pharmaceutical drugs. Oh, and by the way, keep putting the toxin, the poison, in your water because fluoride, it's so good for you, isn't it? Yeah, it's good for your children too. It helps them. Look what good things it does to their bones and their brain. Yeah. So, let's see. This was the beginning of November, and I said, do you think he's going to stop the warrantless wiretappings? Do you think, the million-man army thing for, with more funding than the army has, or at least equal funding, I think he called for? And they're going to be youth. We want a youth brigade. That's right. He needs youth brigades. Where have you heard that before? Hey, does he have the youth? Yeah, we need the youth. Must have the youth. Gosh. Folks, Sharonites, world viewers, whatever, we must wake up. We've got to wake up. It's a wake-up thing, Have some coffee, a little bit of stimulant, ask questions. Where have I seen leaders with logos before? Yeah, youth brigades. The previous guy get what? Handing the baton over to this new guy. And what'd the previous guy do? Let's see, false flag terrorism, put in a police state. Yeah, kind of interesting, huh? Boy, I'm sure all the, quote, neocons, the real Republicans are crying now because those... And what? years from now they're going to say, well, we're getting change, we're getting rid of that Democrat, we're going to get ourselves a real Republican in here. It's comedy.